1 and 2 is going to kick off a rivalry that's going to lead into Mania. And I think it's something we've been seeing on Monday Night Raw.
Okay, I'll go my number 1 and 2. And I'm going to go complete left field here.
Welcome back to WrestlePool. My name's Mike. This is Bear.
What's up?
What's going on? Every year, the most exciting time of year to me is the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, well, because it's your birthday.
That, yes, which don't remind me, I'm getting old, but also it means we are on the road to WrestleMania. We need a sign so we can point at it. We need a sign. I want a point. So this episode is all about the Royal Rumble, our predictions, our spoilers, what we think is going to happen. But before we do that, we at WrestlePool, we believe in putting in the work.
Put in that work.
We put in work.
Yes, sir.
And we want to make sure we're watching the most wrestling to bring you all the takes, all the opinions, and all of the stuff we can bring you with wrestling.
Yep.
So one of the things we've done is this past Monday, Bear and I sat down, we planned out the next, from now through Mania.
Yes.
And one of the things we wanted to do is we wanted to go WrestleMania by WrestleMania from now until the episode right before Mania and give you our favorite match from all 39 WrestleManias.
Right.
So we're talking 1 to 39 over the next however many weeks it is till Mania. And we're going to start with WrestleMania 1. So I'm going to give you the floor, WrestleMania 1.
Okay.
What match are you going with?
All right. So I'm going to preface this with wrestling during this period of time was the worst.
Brutal.
Who enjoy? I don't understand. There are people that are like, this was the best time. No, this was the worst time. Now, in the WWF at that point, this was the worst because at that point it was all bodybuilders. It wasn't real wrestlers. I'm sure that if you're talking about WCW and WCCW and you're talking about NWA and they had more real wrestlers, but when it comes to the WWF, it was the worst wrestling I have ever seen, and it's boring.
I agree.
So, with that said, WrestleMania 1 and 2 for me are kind of just matches that are like, I'm like, these ones, they don't have anything to do with the wrestling. It has more to do with just the people in them or the iconicness, I think, of the match. So WrestleMania 1 for me, my favorite match, my top match, I'm going to probably say was Hogan and now oh my God, Hogan, not Jordan. It's not. Now I forgot his name.
Paul Orndorff?
No, it's not in the cage match. It's the cage match.
No, WrestleMania 2 is the cage match. Bundy.
WrestleMania 2 is the cage match?
Yeah, WrestleMania 1 main event was the tag team match with, I think it was Hogan and Mr. T versus Roddy Piper and Paul Orndorff.
See, this is what I'm saying is this is why
you had one job.
I had one job.
One job, Bear.
So, okay, so WrestleMania 1 then. Okay, so let me go back. Let me backtrack then. Now I got this. WrestleMania 1 favorite match of the night is the tag match of Iron Sheik.
Oh, you picked my match.
Yeah, Sheiky Baby and Kozlov. I forget his name. Volkov
versus Barry Windham and Mike Rotunda.
Yes, the U.S. Express.
Yes,
100 with Captain Lou Albano.
Yeah, and Freddie Blassie was with the other. Yeah, the exact reason you gave was the people in it is exactly why I picked
That's
this
why.
match. Yep.
And I'm not even here's my thing. It's not even the people in it. I'm sorry. It's just Sheiky Baby.
Yep.
It's just Iron Sheik.
Yep.
Because to be at WrestleMania 1 and hear Iron Sheik go, Russia 1, Iran number 1, USA, that was it. That's the only moment from WrestleMania 1 that I need in my life.
Yes.
So that was my favorite match.
I thought you were going to go with the Hogan match. I thought I had WrestleMania 1. All right, so I'm going to start with WrestleMania 2 because I know the difference between the WrestleManias.
Yes, I don't apparently.
What you said about wrestling during this time is 100% the truth. They all look the same. It was just all. So I went with the British Bulldogs versus the Dream Team, Brutus the Barber Beefcake, and Greg Valentine.
Yeah.
I liked the British Bulldogs.
Of course.
I liked that match for what it was back then.
Right.
I thought it was a lot of fun. And yeah, you can go with, they had a hair match. They had the steel cage, Hogan and King Kong Bundy.
That's you have the boxing match with Piper and Mr. T, which doesn't make sense to me. Like,
you know, that's where sports entertainer, I guess, began. Vince knew back in 1987 that he was going to do entertainment, and he did it full-fledged. But I enjoyed the tag team match. So my first 2 WrestleManias, tag team matches were my favorite. I actually enjoyed this wrestling match. So yeah.
Sure. I went with, for WrestleMania 2, I went with Hogan and Bundy. And one of the reasons why is because I didn't want to pick tag team matches back to back. Although I did almost go with the British Bulldogs. I almost want simply because it's the British Bulldogs again. Like, but I also think like the steel cage match.
Yeah.
Like kind of the iconicness of that blue cage. I was like, that's like, to me. So, you know, it's one of those things where I was like, it was a whatever match, but like, you know, they put up that blue cage. I remember that blue cage from my early childhood.
I remember that WrestleMania. That was my first WrestleMania I ever watched.
Yeah, I wasn't old enough.
I
wasn't alive.
I don't think you were born yet, but that was the first wrestling pay-per-view. Everyone in my court, because I lived in a big apartment complex.
Right.
And everyone in the court came by our house. I think all the parents chipped in. They all brought food. I was 5.
Right.
No idea. Well, my mom kept telling me it was fake. I just remember crying. I cried through most of WrestleMania 2 because my mom kept telling me wrestling was fake. And I didn't believe her because it's still real to me, damn it. All right, so we're going to go to WrestleMania 3, and I'm going to let you have the floor for WrestleMania 3 because I know you feel very strongly about one match.
I do.
And I'm going to say right now, I agree with everything this man is saying about this match. So go.
Macho Man and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat for the Intercontinental title is my favorite match of all time. I think it's the best WrestleMania match ever.
Boom.
And for one simple reason, they stole the show.
They did.
Like, that match should not have been what it's become. The lore that it has, the iconicness that it has, Macho Man and Miss Elizabeth and Steamboat. Like, it's just, there's the story and the everything about it is just and then the match is great. Like, you have probably two of the only like real wrestlers that, you know, there's only a handful of guys in the WWF that are like real wrestlers at this point. They're all, I mean, you got Piper and Flair's in WCW, so he's not there, right? Like, but Hogan's a bodybuilder. Yeah. Like, Warrior is there. Like, but like, these are bodybuilders. Yeah. These are just muscle guys that are just meant to go out there and look good. They're not wrestlers like Macho Man and Steamboat are, who can go into a match and tell an incredible story and have you on the edge of your seat for the entire match. And here's the thing. Wrestling at this time is incredibly boring except for this match. I love this match. I'll watch this match every day, no problem. And so, yeah, that was the one that WrestleMania 3 to me, Steamboat and Savage, greatest WrestleMania match of all time.
I don't know about, yeah. All right. So to piggyback off that, I agree. I didn't go that match because I knew how he feels about this match, but I went back and I watched a specific part of the A&E biography for Macho Man.
Okay.
And in that biography, Steamboat talked about him and Macho Man planning this match, and it was like a yellow legal pad, and there was 140 something things. I don't know what you call them, steps, instructions,
right?
Like, you know, lock up, and then they just started, and they would read it every time they were together, and they would go over it every time they were together, and Macho Man would be like, nope, all right, we're going to do this, and then just read it. And by the time they got to Detroit,
right,
they had memorized this 4-page long document of every single moment and step of that match to make it what it was. Right. So I respect the match even more knowing that.
Right.
Because I don't know how they put together matches on these big stages. I've seen local shows put together matches. I went to a wrestling experience, and I watched them put together a short Royal Rumble that lasted all of about 7 minutes, and I was absolutely amazed at how we were able to do it. You were with me.
I was with you, and it was great.
It was. So for me, WrestleMania 3, I went with the moment. I went with the iconic moment of Hogan picking up Andre and slamming him, hitting the leg drop, and winning the match. And I went with that because of what it meant for the WWE, what it meant for Hogan going forward. But also the fact I just loved the story that no one knew what Andre was going to do for the main event. You can't tell Andre the Giant what to do.
No, he's a giant.
Yeah. So the fact that he went in there and did the right thing for WWF, for Hulk Hogan, and for the business in general, that moment lives. Now, I believe that, like our previous episode, I believe there's a moment coming that may top that one day in the Rock versus Roman trilogy. But I went with the moment for WrestleMania 3. And I also want to make a suggestion that they do away with the WrestleMania ramp and they bring back those little carts, the mini ring where the wrestlers stand in and they get driven to the ring.
Yeah.
Okay?
I'm in.
We need that.
I'm in. 100%.
They should have had that for The Undertaker for the last 5 or 6 WrestleManias. Or they need to bring it at SummerSlam or Royal Rumble, because I can't imagine the aisleway for the Royal Rumble coming up.
Oh, it's going to be insane.
I mean, the clock, what do they have, like 90 seconds before the next?
Yeah, like it's 90 seconds.
Some of these people, they walk so slow, the people are going to be behind them.
Yep.
It's going to be unbelievable. So, WrestleMania 1, we agree. The tag team match, not for wrestling, just because of the people in it.
Yeah.
WrestleMania 2, you went with the iconic moment, the blue cage.
Yep.
I went with the tag team match back-to-back.
Yep.
And you're 100% right in WrestleMania 3. Arguably the greatest WrestleMania match of all time.
I think so.
And I went with the moment.
Yeah.
So our next episode, I believe we're going to be doing 2 WrestleManias a show until we get closer to the end. And then we're going to tackle, I think, 6 WrestleManias within 2 episodes as we lead into our full-fledged WrestleMania coverage.
Oh, yeah. WrestleMania week is going to be intense, so stick around. But,
Absolutely.
But WrestleMania week
starts January 27th, 2024, Tampa, St. Pete, home of the Thunderdome.
Oh yeah, which I didn't even realize until you explained that to me, because the Thunderdome was in several places at one point, right? Like not at one point, but it had been several places. I didn't even realize that. So they're going back to their pandemic home. Going back to
the Thunderdome. All right, so the layout that we've discussed is we're going to talk about the Royal Rumble match itself. We could talk about, we've already discussed the Fatal 4-Way in a previous episode.
Right.
For Roman. So we're going to give potential winners.
Yes.
We're going to say why we think they should win. Yeah. And then we're going to talk about who you think number 1, number 2, and number 30 is.
Yeah.
And the biggest surprise. So where would you like to start, Bear?
I think let's start with our entrant. Like, let's start with who's number 1, who's number 2, and who's number 30. We'll do men, we'll do women.
Okay.
And then we'll go from there. And because if we just gave away our predictions now, people click off the video.
Good point. See, he knows this stuff. He's a professional.
You stay right there.
Bear Savvy Media. Look it up.
Yeah, stay right there. Watch this video. It's gonna be fun. So I say we start with number 1, number 2, and number 30. I'm gonna let you go first since you gave.
We're starting with the men's.
Yeah, let's start with the men.
All right, so what do I have here? I have to write it down. So I think this 1 and 2 is going to kick off a rivalry that's going to lead into Mania, and I think it's something we've been seeing on Monday Night Raw. I think Drew McIntyre is set up to have an amazing run in the Royal Rumble.
Yes.
Okay, and he is going to be set up for a prime, big-time one-on-one match. Sure. And who better to come in at number 2, coming back after being hurt by Drew, the one and only Sami Zayn.
Ooh.
Okay, so I think 1 and 2 could kick off a rivalry for them too. Okay, Sami's going to be hot. He's coming back. He's now healthy.
Right.
Okay, and they're just going to go right at it to start. Mm-hmm. Okay, the easier, Punk's going to be number 1. Gunther was number 1 last year, lasted an hour and 11 minutes. I think Drew's going to have one of those runs in the Rumble.
I like that. I like that 1 and 2 because I'm with you. I do think Drew will have a deep run into the Rumble. But I like Sami being number 2 because Drew's sitting there like who, and then Sami's music hits and it's like
the place is gonna go nuts.
They'll go bazonk. Yeah, it would
bazonk.
Like Lash last week, bazonk this week.
Bazinga.
Great picks. Okay, I'll go my number 1 and 2, and I'm gonna go complete left field here. Like I'm going complete.
Good.
Number 1 is Cody Rhodes. I think Cody goes number 1.
I think I know where you're going. Number 2.
Oh, do you?
Let's see.
I don't know. I think Gunther is number 2.
Okay. All right.
I think Cody is number 1. And I think Gunther is number 2. The 2 men to end the Rumble last year.
Just kick it off this year. I like that a lot.
Kick this off this year. And
I like it a lot.
And I love in the lead up to WrestleMania, a little something going on with Gunther and Cody. Like that, like a little sub story going on with them. Gunther and Cody, kind of not having matches or anything like that, but just little interactions like one day, because my prediction is that Cody Rhodes wins the belt from Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40. We talked about that in the last episode. And what if because Roman's off dealing with The Rock at that point.
Yes.
There's no Cody Roman at that point. So what if Gunther is Cody's first opponent after
main event Bash Berlin?
So I think it's Gunther and Cody 1 and 2.
I like that. All right, so I'm going to give you. So my number 30 ties into what I think is going to happen to end the Rumble. So who do I think can win the Men's Royal Rumble? Well, to me, it starts with Cody Rhodes.
Yes.
Okay. Will he be the first back-to-back winner since, I want to say Stone Cold did it back-to-back. It's been a long time. Finish the story. I'm with it. Finish the story, WrestleMania 40. I don't know if it's going to be against Roman. Like I said, I think if Roman's going to drop the belt, now might be the time to do it.
Sure.
But still, finishing the story is winning the belt, not beating Roman. And if Randy Orton, say, is the champ and Cody can go face Randy, there's an automatic story in history there that I am totally invested in already. We haven't even gotten there yet.
Right.
So he's number 1. Number 2 is CM Punk, and he's my number 30 to enter the Rumble.
Right.
All right. And I believe that Punk is going to win the Rumble. He is my prediction to win the Royal Rumble. He will main event night 1, WrestleMania, Seth Rollins, in what will be one of the most heated feuds and builds to an absolute epic. Do I say opening match? No, main event. We'll go last.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that match might open Mania. There might be different main events for night 1, but we'll do that later.
Sure.
But I think Punk is 30. I think Punk wins the Rumble. And if I had to put a wild card number 3, just because he's so hot and he's doing so much great work, is Drew McIntyre.
Interesting.
If I had to pick a third option to win the Men's Royal Rumble, I'm picking Drew McIntyre. And I don't know how that would work storyline or what title, but I absolutely love what he's doing right now.
That's awesome. Okay. I like those. I like those a lot. I have one person at number 30, and it's for one reason and one reason only, because I don't think that he can go any longer than number 30 would go, and that is CM Punk. Listen, that's not a dig at CM Punk.
No, I agree.
Because I am very happy with this CM Punk.
Me too.
CM Punk has come back to the WWE, and I feel like he's just having fun.
He is. And
if we can just keep getting this CM Punk, I'm all in. But at this point, I don't know that if you put him in at 15, 16, even 20, 21, like in that middle, run, number one, I don't feel like it's a big enough, like 1, 2, kind of the top 5 to 6, like get real big. But as we get to the middle of the Rumble, people are like it's this ebb and flow, right? Like people are real high for the beginning and then they kind of come back down and then you got to bring them back up. And with number 30 is kind of that point. And so I think that plays into it, but I also just don't know that he has the stamina and the in-ring to be able to go, because I think he's going to go a while in the Rumble, but I don't think he wins. My ultimate winner is Cody Rhodes, wire to wire.
So then he'd be breaking Gunther's record from the year before.
So.
That's
Which,
awesome.
Again, think about all of the little stories in that, right?
Yeah.
Last two men in the Rumble last year. Gunther, he eliminates Gunther and sets the record. First two men in the Rumble this year. Cody goes wire to wire and breaks Gunther's record. Like, all of the little things that now Gunther has against Cody. Like, there are all these little seeds that are just like, ooh, like, I want to watch all of that. So that's my ultimate winner is Cody Rhodes. I love the idea of Drew McIntyre. I am going to, this is again, like, because I want to cause chaos here, like just absolute chaos. Damian Priest is my wild card win.
Okay.
Because think about that. Mr. Money in the Bank is also the Royal Rumble winner. So he can cash in at any point, right? Like, let's say that Damian Priest goes, I'm going to main event and I'm going to, like, they don't do Punk Seth for whatever reason, or maybe they do a triple threat or something, but it's Damian Priest in the main event for the World Heavyweight title and he loses. Well, then he just turns around and cashes in.
Would make for a very interesting scenario.
Let's just cause chaos. Like, let's go for it, right? So, like, that's why I think that's my, like, wild card out of left field is, like, and it has no grounding in any, like, thing that they're doing right now. But it's just, like...
It'll be fun. It'll be interesting. It'll definitely be fun.
And that's what WrestleMania season, to me, is all about.
Yeah.
Is what's the chaos we can just cause. So, like... So those are my kind of, I think Cody is my, like, he's my pick to win. If I had to pick somebody else, I like the Drew pick, but I think I'm going with Damian. I'm just going to go with Damian Priest.
I like that. That'd be fun.
It'd be interesting.
Do you have a surprise entrant to the Men's Royal Rumble?
A surprise, and I have one that I really want it to be. And if he did, he'd be the person that has to win. And it's Santino Marella.
He should have won that 1 year Royal Rumble.
Alberto Del Rio, like, he should have won that Royal Rumble. That is the only surprise entrant that I want. That is like,
oh man, that would be amazing.
If Santino Marella,
that would be incredible.
So that is the one. One other thing that I'd be interested in seeing, because we've seen them do it in the past, specifically with Mickie James, is a TNA person. Now, I doubt that would be Nick Nemeth. They just released him. But seeing someone like Moose just out of the blue show up in the Royal Rumble, again, like, it's WrestleMania season. Let's cause some like, that'd be awesome. Like, I'd love to see that. The last person that I would be like is Okada, because we've talked about that. Shinsuke and Okada standing in the middle of the ring, right? Like, I would even do it where Shinsuke is out. Like, Shinsuke comes out number 10 and Okada comes out number 11. And that face-to-face, like, that would be the one that that I would love to see. But I don't think any of those are actually reasonable or feasible or that they're going to happen. But those are the surprise entrants that I want. Is Okada. I want... Okada would probably be my number one, actually. Yeah. I think Okada's number one. And I think he'd be the most likely. I think they could pull that deal off with NJPW. They've been working with AJPW.
That was my next question. Is there anyone on the AJPW roster that they would want in the Rumble? But I'm not familiar enough with the roster to do it.
Me either. But your men's surprise entrance?
I don't have one because Okada's like the fantasy of all. I don't know of anyone who's available to be a surprise entrant. But I'm going to go Braun Breaker to have a nice run in the Royal Rumble. I would like to see him finally after his little Dusty Tag Team Classic with Corbin, finally be called up to the main roster.
Right.
Been waiting. It seems like Carmelo Hayes is starting to make that transition to SmackDown, so maybe Braun Breaker on Monday Night Raw. But I would like to see him be in the Royal Rumble.
That'd be a good one. That would be, Braun Breaker in the Royal Rumble would be... trying to think of other NXT stars that I would like to see in the Rumble, but I think Braun is the one.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that.
He's not him. He's the one.
He's the one.
All right, so the women.
Yeah.
So we'll let you kick off the Women's Royal Rumble. Who are your...
I think number one is Becky Lynch. I think Becky's going. I think we talked about, mommy versus the man, and I think number 1 is Becky. Number two is gonna, because I'm holding out hope for this one, and it's going to maybe. It's also my surprise entrant. It's Mercedes Moné.
Okay.
I think the deal might be done because everybody keeps talking about her going to, the talks broke down with WWE, and we really think she's going to AEW. But I think that, all of this information comes from leaked sources, and those leaked sources are still controlled by these companies. They're leaking what they want to leak to the right people. So my opinion is that Mercedes is actually, she's probably coming back for the Rumble. That's my surprise entrant. And so I think it's Becky, because think about that. Becky and Sasha, 1 and 2, the history that they have, the history that would make. So yeah, I think Becky and Sasha are number 1 and 2.
So I have Becky at number 1 as well. But I am continuing the Becky Nia Jax feud for a little while longer. She's going to be number 2.
Okay.
And I could see her having a good run in the Rumble. But I do like the Sasha Banks idea. She was my surprise entrant.
Yeah.
Because I had her for just coming in at some point. And there's rumors that there's $25 million on the table for her from AEW. So money talks. But yes, I think she's coming back to WWE. I think she realizes that WWE is probably her best chance. And there's a lot happening right now within the women's division that should, tickle the taste buds, so to speak, to get her wanting to come back. And you're going to make so much money anyway. What the heck's the difference?
Yeah, and that's the thing is, with the bigger audience that the WWE has, I think she'll end up selling more merch, which will end up making her probably more money than the 25 she would get from AEW. And now, I don't know with their merch split with their wrestler, but, I honestly think you have to think about that, too. AEW has wrestling fans. I mean, I don't get why, but AEW gets wrestling fans. Wrestling fans don't spend money. Casual fans spend money on merch, on all that stuff, especially at the big shows that it's the first and last time they're ever going to be there for it, that kind of stuff. So I think you're going to sell more merch at these. So
who's your number 30?
Number 30, my number 30 is Bayley.
Okay.
I think Bayley gets the rest. She gets to rest all the way from 1 through 29, and then she comes in at number 30. I think that, and I think it's the right spot for her to come in, especially if you've got Becky and Sasha going 1 and 2. Having Bayley be that bookend again with the history of those three. Now will Becky and Sasha both be in the match at that point when Bayley gets in? Who knows? But the history that those three have, I would have said Charlotte, but she's
not
out
coming
for
back.
a while.
Yeah, she's out till the fall.
Yeah. So Bayley's going to be number 30 to me.
So for me, number 30 is an introduction to the main roster.
Ooh.
I think it's going to be a very brief stint in this match, but I think this is the debut of Jade Cargill.
Oh.
Okay. I think she's been training enough. I think the Royal Rumble's a good moment to have her make her debut.
Yeah.
Get in there, a few spots. I don't know how long she's going to last. But get her in there and have her get introduced, because I do think there is a place on the WrestleMania card for her.
Sure.
Probably in a tag team match. Again, you never know what WWE wants from their wrestlers before they get in a ring in a one-on-one or a tag. So I'm sure, because Triple H has said that her training has been limited. So having her at the Performance Center and working, I think this is a great moment to have her come in.
I like that one.
And get her debut. Yeah. Now, as far as winning, so for me, it comes down to 2 people.
Yeah.
All right. It comes down to Bayley coming in at some point. I just think everything aligns for the turn on Bayley. leading up to the Rumble and then in the Rumble.
Yeah.
And I think that Bayley will go through every one of Damage Control that's in the Rumble. And I think she's going to eventually win the Rumble and then challenge Io. My number 2 has to be Becky. To get Mommy versus the Man and to have Becky on the top rope pointing to the side, knowing where we're headed with the match.
Yeah.
That's the biggest. Is it the biggest women's match we can have right now? No, I still think Mommy versus Bianca for me would be the biggest 100%. Women's match we could have. But having Becky win again and going on to, that's why I said, like, that match, that's a main event caliber.
Oh, 100%.
So those are my 2. It's Bayley and Becky. I don't really think, I went through, all right, is Liv Morgan coming back? Is Alexa Bliss coming back?
Right.
I don't think they're going to give Jade Cargill that moment to win and have her main event. No. But so for me, it's Becky and Bayley, and then it's the field.
I think Jade Cargill getting her debut there is the right call, and then she'll go back to NXT, and I think you'll see her at Stand and Deliver challenging Lyra Valkyria for the NXT Women's Champion. So I think like that's a really good moment like to get that started. Give her moment in the Rumble, let her really get that, and then send her back to NXT, let her work with Lyra down there. My winner, ultimately, I only have one. It's Bayley.
Yeah.
I think that's why I also put her at number 30. The percentage, right? Like the odds of her winning, all that stuff. But I do think it's Bayley is the winner. Because we're going to get Bayley and Io at WrestleMania, which I'm in for. I think it'll be a great match. I think what'll be really interesting with this whole story with Bayley and Io, and I actually think that she would have been included in it, but I think we would have seen Bayley versus Io with Bianca and with Becky and Sasha by her side, and if she was healthy, Charlotte would have been there as well. So I think we would have seen the reuniting of the 4 horsewomen versus what is now Damage Control, which are Dakota Kai is incredible, but like you have Io who is very young, like you have Kairi Sane and Asuka who are absolute legends in Japanese wrestling. Io 100% still young, can become that, and Dakota is kind of the puppet master in all of that. But so I think you have these 2 women's factions that are absolutely. So I think you would have seen that had Charlotte stayed healthy, but I think now we'll just see Io and the Kabuki Warriors with Dakota Kai by their side versus Bayley with Becky and Sasha coming back by her side. So that to me is a great. I just wish Charlotte could have been part of it.
Yeah. And he just booked the Women's War Games match for the 2024 Survivor Series.
Seriously, like think about that too, right? Like this is something that can go on, and this is something that can go on for the next 12 months, and take us right back to Royal Rumble 2025, and Charlotte will be back in the fall, and we get that, right? Because Dakota's still hurt. Like Dakota's still not ready.
She's still hurt.
She's not ring ready yet. So like let Becky and Sasha and Bayley mix it up with Io and Kairi and Asuka for a little while. And then eventually Dakota comes back, and then you have the big Charlotte Flair comes back, and now we get that at War Games next year. That'd be an incredible War Games.
To have those 4 back together, teaming together in any way, shape, or form would be outstanding. And it would be full circle moment for all of them. Right. For what they've done for women's wrestling in general, but more in WWE.
I would love to see that. The 4 of them standing in the middle of the ring at a WrestleMania.
But I need Hugger Bayley back for a little while.
I need Hugger Bayley back.
I do.
I'm with you on that. Like, but yeah, that would Hugger Bayley back, Charlotte healthy, all 4 of them I just think about the 4 of them standing in the middle of a ring at WrestleMania with 80,000 people at the end of the match, like standing triumphant, like, and just being like, this is the moment we all waited for. You know, this is
almost 10 years.
Yeah.
Them for doing their thing. God, they are. Whew, they've done it all.
They have.
All right. Yeah. So that's the Royal Rumble. Now there will be other matches.
Yes.
You know, there'll be we have Logan Paul and KO at Royal Rumble, which we both believe Logan Paul to go over.
100%.
I don't know if we're getting either. Well, yeah, we have Roman's world title match.
Right.
Fatal 4-way. I believe Randy's winning somehow. So I don't know if we're getting a Seth match, because you figure a Seth match would have been announced already.
Yeah, well, maybe they had to get through Jinder first before they announced anything, right? Like, I mean, if you're throwing a Seth match on the card at this point, it's kind of like why? Also, the Royal Rumble matches go so long. Do you really need? We're gonna get
I'm just
Logan.
wondering if there'll be a tag title match or a women's tag title match.
I don't think there will be a tag title match, because I think that
because what do they normally have, like 2 or 3 matches outside of the 2 main Rumble.
Yeah, right. Because I also think whether or not Damian Priest is actually like I'm saying that he's going to be in it, but who knows if he actually will be as Mr. Money in the Bank, right? It would make sense if they were like, we don't need Damian in there, but I definitely think that Finn will be in the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, well, I mean, people have wrestled singles matches and then went on to be in the Rumble, so.
True. Yes, I agree with that, but I don't know that they would do. I just don't know that they need the tag match, right? Like we've got so.
We just said we need more tag wrestling.
Well,
so
not at the Royal Rumble apparently. Like, what are we gonna do? Tie up a pony?
We should tie up ponies.
So I don't know if we're gonna see that, but I would be interested. Right now, we don't have a women's title match on the show.
We don't.
And I would love to see Rhea in a women's title match on the Royal Rumble. Like, I don't need Io there because we're going to get all the stuff with Bayley, I think.
Yeah.
But having Rhea in a title match on the Royal Rumble, like...
Makes sense.
Yeah. But, you know...
So here, I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you think they let Rhea enter the men's Rumble?
No.
No?
No.
Is WWE done with all that stuff?
Yes.
Because they had Nia Jax do it not too long ago.
Yeah, no, we're not doing that.
No?
No. I mean,
shot?
No shot whatsoever. Absolutely not. I don't think that. Listen, Rhea is an absolute powerhouse, like, and she could hold her own and everything, but like, why?
Well, I mean, Tessa Blanchard one time did win the TNA world title.
Sure, but like, do we really do? Okay, cool. Let's just be AEW and turn on the shock factor for the ratings spike. Like, that's what, like...
Yeah, no, I
think, you know, we always get kind of like, we always talk every year, we get kind of those, like, those real gimmick, those real, like, funny, like a Santino.
Tatanka came out.
Right, or like a Santino coming out would be like the comic relief in the middle of that, right? Yeah. Like, and Santino, and like, if Santino did come to the Royal Rumble this year, I think it's for one thing and one thing only, and it's to break his record of the fastest time in the Royal Rumble. Because apparently he's told Chris Van, he's the only person who knows how to do it. He's like, I know exactly how to break my record, and he's like, I'm the only person that knows how to. I'm like, okay, Santino, like, sign the contract. Let's see it. I'm down. So that would be the only thing.
All right, now I'm interested.
Right, like that would be. But yeah, they're not doing Rhea.
Just curious.
Stop being curious.
I have to be curious. Curious Mike.
That should be your Twitter handle.
No, it's at MJH_WrestlePool.
That's it. So go follow him on all the things at MJH_WrestlePool. Go follow me, Chris Bear _WrestlePool. Mainly on Instagram. I don't do that X nonsense. But I think that's it.
I think we've done our job.
Good job. Way to book the Royal Rumble. If we're wrong, don't leave a comment about it. I really don't care. And we just still don't have a way to sign off. Scissor me, Daddy.